Welcome to Shade and the City. It's your girl Treese here, and I am here to go beyond the gates, y'all. It is season 1, episode 21. I for a second thought it was 22 because it is just moving by so fast. But this is today's episode, Wednesday, March 26th. So, guys, I am ready to get into it. I am overjoyed. Shout out to my girl Blatant Truth. Also can't forget to say shout out to Angela Jackson because we all agreed. We are so happy. This is 3 episodes in that we have not gotten any Derek or Ashley. Let's not jinx it, y'all. Let's not say it too many times. But I'm just grateful, okay? So yeah, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that like button. And if you like in recaps, and like I said, we got a lot of other stuff on this channel. When I get with my double trouble, my counterpart, it's a lot. And we be, we a good kiki. So yeah, if you like it, make sure you guys subscribe. But yeah, let's get into it. And yeah, let's get shady. Okay, so as we know from last episode, Chelsea has told her mother that she's done with modeling. Danny doesn't really believe her and thinks Chelsea is basically just trying to punk her. So then Chelsea is explaining to Danny about her desire to be a designer and lets her know that, she started her own company with Kat. And so Danny basically tells her, like, look, let's just be serious. And if you want to pursue these dreams, we can look into that. But she's not going to let her give up her career on a whim. So finally, Chelsea is like, look, it's not up to you, and explains how much work her and Kat have put into this. And as she goes on about, the luxury brand being interested in them and, wanting a partner, Danny looks a little confused and asks her why she's just now hearing about it. So Chelsea told her because, obviously I was concerned and, scared. And so Danny seems a little hurt by this. And she's like, well, why would you feel like that? And she was like, well, because it wasn't necessarily you. I just didn't want to dump the news on you with everything that you were going through. The last thing with Bill and Haley, the last thing I wanted to tell you was that, oh, this little piece of job you had as momager is about to end. So, and at this point, Chelsea realizes that her mother is hurt. So she's like, you know what, Ma, don't worry about it. I can make this work for another 3 years. And she goes to go sign the contract, and Danny snatches it away from her and rips it up. And basically is like, look, I can't let you do that. And, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't let you chase your own dreams. And then, she reminisces on taking her chance to pursue her own career. And then, of course, we know it comes to the sad part about she gave that all up for Boo. Okay. I ain't even gonna hold you. I kind of wish, and I understand that Danny is older, but I really wish she would become some type of older influencer or something so we can stop just this, the good old days when I was on, a high as a model. I understand. I get it. It's hard. Okay. That was clearly her peak, she feels. But, I'm ready for her to move on. Okay. So then, Danny and Chelsea finally hug it out, and Chelsea thanks her for her contribution to her career. Danny tells her how proud she is of her, and she knows, look, you got to do you. And I need you to do that. So Nicole walks in and witnesses this embrace. And yeah, we'll get into Nicole later. So speaking of that, all my BTG Shade Squad. As y'all know, and I meant to bring it up earlier, we all know that Ted has been recasted by, I apologize for not having the gentleman's name, but at least by now, I think most of us know that Ted was recasted. And that makes me feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, or maybe because we haven't seen Eva or Leslie in maybe 1 or 2 episodes, maybe that's why we haven't seen Ted, or maybe this is, I wonder if this is when they decided we were going to recast. Because I noticed we haven't seen Ted in 3 episodes either. So anyway, or yeah, I think it's been about 3. So y'all let me know. Drop down in the comments. That's what we here for. Dialogue. All right. So then we see Haley. She spots Jacob at All Free Jeans, okay, and she decides she wants to roll up on him and say hello, and she congratulates him on his promotion. And as he's trying to get his coffee and leave, and it's like, girl, get away from me. And Haley's like, well, I really want to see how we can work together to get Bill and Naomi back on speaking terms. And Jacob was like, my only job is to support my wife. I am not doing anything, nothing nearby close to your ass. I was like, literally this whole scene, I was like, yes, Jacob, yes. Stand on business for once. Okay. So basically, this is what really irritated me about Haley. For those who are like old school Brooke, Logan, Bold, and the Beautiful fans, and I'm not a Brooke fan, but I just wish she would live. Like, that's what she kind of reminds me of. Like, I don't understand. Even though I slept with your husband and I slept, like, y'all remember when Brooke slept with Eric, Forrester, Thorne, and Ridge? And they all the fathers and the sons. Do y'all remember that? And she just couldn't comprehend why Stephanie didn't like her, and every time she saw her wanted to knock her ass out. That's the vibe that Haley gives me. And it irritates me. But anyway, so Jacob tells her, look, I'm not getting into it with you. And so then Haley tells him she wants him to admit that, look, the marriage was already on the rocks, okay, before I came in the picture. And Jacob is like, oh, is that what he told you? And let me guess, he also told you that she wasn't there for him. And he just needed someone to hold her. It was really funny. He played her or whatever. And like I said, Jacob gave me so much life this scene for once, okay? So Haley thinks that just because Bill found happiness, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's that Brooke Logan stuff. Just because Bill found happiness, it shouldn't cost him his family. And so she tells him that she loves Bill and Haley. She loves Bill and Naomi, and hopes that one day she can let go of her anger for her. You know what I mean? For herself. And then Jacob tells her, look, don't count on it. Naomi ain't never gonna see it for you. And I ain't met her. If she never saw it for her, I would completely understand. Okay. And I just wish Haley would live in her like villain era. If you're gonna steal the lady husband, if you're gonna move in the same neighborhood, and just rub it in her face, just live in that villain Erica. Am I thinking Erica Kane right now? But like, that's the type of energy I need. Like that, I don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I did it and did. Like I'm expecting that type of energy from Haley versus this like, I don't understand why no one likes me. It's really frustrating. Okay. But I understand it's a soap. I'm just dialogue. Okay. So we know Bill is pissed to learn that about this suit and Naomi's participation in it. Naomi lets him know that she has 3 clients who were wrongfully terminated after making harassment allegations. And so she tells him she's looking forward to, the discovery and uncovering the evidence. And Bill tells her she won't find no evidence because it doesn't exist. And the man she's referring to is not the man that works for him. Obviously, we're talking about Nasty Mike, okay? Naomi makes it clear that she's heard the rumors about Mike even before the lawsuit. And I ain't even gonna hold you. I also thought that this was in poor judgment for her to say to her father, who's a lawyer. I would have thought that she was a little bit sharper on her toes to not say something about a rumor, because we all know rumors don't get you nowhere in the courtroom, right? So Bill tells her she shouldn't have filed a suit based on rumors, and tells her it sounds kind of desperate, honestly. So then Naomi rebuttals and tells him that, she looks forward to interviewing his or getting the depositions from his employees. And she says, I'm sure they'll be educational. And so look, Bill's like, look, I know you mad at your good old dad, but if you're just doing this to get attention, You could have just picked up the phone. All right. And so Naomi gives him a pro tip and tells him, look, because at that point he called her sweetheart. And so she's like, don't call me sweetheart, especially in the courtroom, because it could come off like it could come off a little sexist. And it was funny because you could see, and I'm sure all of y'all saw it as well. Bill was so proud of her. I loved it. First of all, this is probably my favorite scene was her reading her daddy down and the back and forth banter between them because it was definitely attorneys. Um, but you could tell it was a father feeling tested, but at the same time, like so proud of his baby girl because everything that he clearly has taught her has rubbed off on her, right? So I did think that was a little bit cute. And so Bill tells Naomi she would have better served her clients by picking up the phone and trying to resolve things amicably. He tells her that they can still handle it that way, but she has to withdraw her suit with prejudice, and they can work something out now that he's aware, and he'll investigate it and take the appropriate action. Naomi doesn't believe that Bill didn't know what was going on. Um, and then he tells Naomi that lower level personnel is not his concern. He then decides, and this is why I was like, he's nasty. He gets snarky and says that I don't manage staff. He manages high profile cases. I said, Jesus, okay. And Naomi lets him know that, Mike is one of those people that brought those high profile clients to him or cases to him and feels like maybe that's why he turned a blind eye to his lower level personnel and how they were being treated. So then she gives her father a great closing argument and about how these women are being robbed of everything. And, he even gives her a round of applause, right? And tells her, look, that was cute. He then asks her, so is this about your client or is this about how I treated your mother? Because I noticed that a lot of things that you're saying sound a lot like your feelings and how I treated your mother. And then Naomi tells him that he actually has the same MO in his professional and his personal life. Okay. I said, I love this toe to toe blow for blow. It was good. So Bill tells Naomi he's disappointed in her and tells her using these women to retaliate against him. And Naomi lets him know that she's not doing that. She's holding him accountable. And so he calls her case flimsy and says the ladies were let go due to performance issues. She says no, it was retaliatory. So he's like, look, Naomi, the case is not going to go anywhere and you're going to be laughed out of court. Okay. And he tries to guilt trip her about the other lower level employees who could be affected by her suing the firm. And, it's like, oh, and, these people watched you grow up and attended your graduation from law school. And, I really think you need to rethink this. And Naomi lets him know, look, bro, I'm going to see you. Well, look, Dad, I'm going to see you in court. And as she walks out, of course, Bill smiles because you know what? Bill loves toxicity. That's why he likes the relationship with Danny. That's why he likes this relationship with Naomi. He likes toxicity. And it's insane. So let's move on. We're going to get into Smitty. He is confronting Marvin after learning that he wants to run for president. Martin tells him that he was just considering it. Wasn't a real thing. I didn't, put my name on no ballots or anything. And he lets Smitty know that, he only shared his dreams with his mother and his grandfather. So Smitty was like, well, why wasn't I part of that equation? I'm your whole husband. And so then Martin flips it again. He is so good at doing this. I mean, it's the gaslighting of it all. And asks, well, why didn't you tell me about wanting to go back into reporting? And so Smitty actually falls for it and admits that, well, we both have issues communicating, what's important to us. He questions basically how they got to this place in their relationship. And then we see Kat, who sees Tomas at Offrey's, and ask if she, can sit down and join him. And so then he like hesitates for a second. So she's like, oh, no. And I don't know about y'all. Is it just because Kat is a virgin that she's so awkward when it comes to Tomas? And I'm not trying to be funny. Like, that's the only, and I don't want to say flaw, but that's the only thing that bothers me about Kat. She gets so awkward when she gets around this boy. And I'm like, No, I don't know. Y'all weigh in. Let me know what you think. But anyway, so Tomas is like, "Oh, girl, don't walk away." And he's like, "Look, I've been through a lot. I got this Hamilton family drama going on at work." And he tells her, "Look, since it's gonna be public record soon, let me let you know the firm is getting sued." So he obviously runs down what happened and tells her, it's the creep that he apparently told her about, which we know was Martin, and said that he really wouldn't care if it was just him, but the whole case could trash the firm. And so Kat is like trying to remind him, but oh no, you're a good lawyer, you can find a better job. And Tomas says that, working for Bill's practice is top tier. And he worked very hard in school so that he could get in the position to work for him. And he basically explains to her that anybody that gets trained under Bill makes their own, kind of blazes their own path once they leave. So Kat realizes that, oh, okay, so you're playing the long game. And she's like, well, I can relate to that because, I'm out here trying to, run this or start my own business. And, outside of managing my father's practice. So then she asked him, well, how is the situation family drama? Because he didn't really get into that yet. And so he let her know because Naomi is the one suing Bill. And so Kat wishes she could have seen her uncle's face. And Tomas tells her that he did and lets her know that, look, he not going to take it easy on Naomi. And Kat's like, and she's not going to expect him to. And so she's like, look, I'm real good with Chelsea. I'm very tight with Chelsea. And she's like, and I do not envy my cousins, okay? It is hard being Bill. What is his last name? Hamilton. It is hard being Bill Hamilton's daughter, okay? So then he asked about her father, Ted. And this is why I would have figured we would have pivoted or moved on to a Ted scene after this, right? But he asked about Ted, and she just talks about how he's the complete opposite of Bill. And so Tomas is like, oh, is that why you're holding out for love and like the right person? And she's like, yeah, basically. And so he's like, oh, wow, I do respect your position, but, it is fun. And so basically, he's like, oh, but do you fantasize about sex with me? And she's like, real coy about it. But she's like, this is not the time or the place to talk about this. But I'll see you later. And I was like, I guess because we know that I was going to say Thomas, because Tomas is a little slippery. I just really don't see it for my girl Kat getting involved with him. She deserves so much better, but unfortunately, ain't nothing better on the show unless we give her Derek, and we definitely don't want her to have that. Okay. So now Nicole runs into Chelsea, and Chelsea explains that she broke the news to her mother about her quitting. And how she was surprisingly happy. So Chelsea believes Danny didn't want to be like Anita, her mother, and questions why Anita wasn't. And so Chelsea's like, well, why wasn't grandma more supportive? So Nicole says that, Anita, having been in the industry, pursuing her own dreams and being out there, she knew it was a cold world. She didn't want her baby exposed to that. And she was like, and once Danny went off, they didn't really talk to her until she reached out. And you got to remember, back in that day, cell phones wasn't really the move. Okay. So I get where it was like she called when she called, but I guess it was probably hurtful to her mother, right? So then we see Danny make it back home. She's having flashbacks of, her conversation, of a conversation that she was having with Vanessa, who was asking her why she's so hard on Chelsea, and basically insinuating that she's living vicariously through her daughter. So then, of course, she goes to look at this old photo of herself in her prime, that the one that Haley smashed and broke, or I wouldn't say smashed, but dropped and broke. Okay. So then we see Martin. He takes a phone call in the middle of this conversation with Smitty. And Smitty, of course, is annoyed. And because you're just a congressman and now you're talking about being president, and I can't even have a conversation with you without being interrupted. I'm telling y'all, I'm really starting to be on Smitty's side. I know that's not how we started, but this is where we are now. Okay. So once he gets off the phone, Martin suggests that maybe their lives are so busy that they need to make time to have important conversations. So Smitty doesn't want to hear that and tells him he had the opportunity to tell him about his career ambitions. Martin claims he didn't have the words. Smitty does a mock speech, but believes he didn't tell him because he was afraid he wouldn't support it. And so Martin was like, "Well, I want to know how you feel about it. Do you? Do you support it?" And so, he's like, "Well, first, I want to know why your grandparents were so opposed to it." So Martin tells him, "Well, my grandparents think that, I'm not ready for the move." And, Smitty's like, "I really don't blame them." And basically, he brings up the kids and, them being in their last year of high school, going into college and things like that. And him trying to run and them being scrutinized. He just doesn't want that. And so basically, Martin is just trying to convince him, like, no, they're tough and they'll be fine. And Smitty is like, nah, I ain't going to agree. But because you said it was just a consideration, I think that we have time to talk about it. Which we know Martin is got his mind dead set on running for this presidency. So this will be interesting. Have we ever had a president go through a divorce while in the White House? Or why he was trying to win election for the White House? I mean, crazier things have happened, right? But I don't know, because I don't think Smitty's up for it. I don't think he got it to do, especially if he got to start investigating his own husband. Okay, so then we see Haley. She returns home from shopping. Of course, she's excited to show Bill all the things she's purchased. Then she noticed something's off with him, so she's like, "Oh, what's up? How was your day? You home, home early from the office?" And Bill lets her know that, look, Naomi's suing the firm. So Haley claims, well, Mike has always been nice to me, and I'll be happy to testify on his behalf. See, this is what I'm talking about, Haley. Little do you know, Mike is over there talking about you like a damn dog. Okay. So Bill tells her he doesn't think that's a good idea. And so she's like, "Oh, well, so what? Do you think Mike is guilty?" And Bill says he doesn't know, but it doesn't matter because the lawsuit's going to go away and we'll never see the inside of a courtroom. Bill tells her how proud he was, but thinks Naomi is trying to prove herself to him. He thinks once she remembers how they used to enjoy arguing law, that everything will be repaired. So maybe this is the connection him and Haley have, that they are like real, real delusional. And maybe that's the connection that him and Danny had. Because she's kind of delulu too. Because remember, she said she still loved Bill and would take him back. I don't know. Haley brings up running into Jacob and thinks that, oh, this is the reason why Jacob blew me off. No, Jacob blew you off because you sat and, I'm not gonna say pretended to be his wife's best friend, but you messed around and effed my wife's father, who was supposed to be your best friend. Yeah. No, it had nothing to do with a lawsuit. Y'all. Hey, I really can't with Haley. I'm it's really giving a lot of Brooke Logan for me. I can't. Then he gets a call from Mike, and so he leaves the room and we see Haley leave the house. And so then Chelsea goes to share the news with Kat that she's, obviously broke the news to her mother. Kat lets her know, well, girl, I got my own gossip because the whole other side of your family is blowing up. And so Chelsea is like, well, what are you talking about? And then she's obviously confused that Naomi didn't tell her. And so she's like, well, Tomas told me. And so they start having a conversation about Tomas. And Chelsea mentions that, look, I understand you like what's going on right now. I know everything seems cute. Kat does let her know that she caught Eva flirting with him, but I love what Chelsea asked her. Well, did he flirt back? What was his response? Right. And Eva, I mean, sorry, Lord, forgive me. Of course, Kat is like, oh, well, he's too good for her. Girl, when you get older and you learn it don't matter. A hole is a hole. Lord, let me be quiet. Anyway, so Chelsea tells her to take her time and basically move forward if the man and the time is right. And I said, you better. Even though Chelsea's with the shits, I ain't mad at her. At least she's smart. Okay. She might be with the shits, but she ain't out here falling in love in her thruples. So Jacob meets Naomi at Uptown for dinner. I guess it's supposed to be on his lunch break. He lets her know that he ran into her stepmother. And I love when Naomi said, don't you ever refer to her as that again. Okay. He tells her that Haley wants them to work together to help repair the relationship with her father. Naomi is like in disbelief because she believes Haley caused this. Okay. Um, and so she's more upset that she tried to enlist Jacob for help and wonder, she's like, why did I not see this about this heifer before? This whole the 4-H, the 4-H, the 4-H's is about to come back out for Haley because she really got on my nerves this episode. Okay. Jacob lets her know, chill out. I won't buy in what she was selling. Naomi tells him that, she did serve her father, or she was there when her father got served. She talks about the back and forth that they had and says that, arguing is their way of communicating. She said that it made her miss him a little. And so here we go. It's just toxicity, just lying. All right. And but it also hurt her when he personally attacked her. And so Jacob tells her that if it's too much for her, she can always give the case to somebody else. Okay. And then we see Danny at home drowning, or I should say downing. But yeah, drowning in a bottle of Russian vodka while Nicole is trying to call and get in touch with her. So Danny's reminiscing on her glory days as a model and wishing that, she could go back and warn her younger self of what's to come, right? And then Nicole, of course, walks in to her house and sees her in shambles. Okay. And I love how everybody got a code to everybody else's house where the doors is just open. So then we see Haley, and she goes to Uptown and she confronts Naomi and asks her what the hell she thinks she doing. And I said, here we go. Haley, you don't know when to stop. You just don't know how to sit and be quiet in the corner, huh? Now that you a wife and a stepmom, you think you got to be hands-on, huh? I don't. I'm trying, y'all. Y'all saw I was a little on the fence, but whoever wrote the script this week took it back to I don't see it for Haley no more. Okay. But anyway, so Martin and Smitty. Now this was good. This is why I saved this one for last. Okay. Martin and Smitty meet for dinner at Offrey's as well. So they're there this I guess yeah, they were at Offrey's. Martin notices Evan, the reporter that was at Bill's wedding, that approached him about having a potential job for Smitty, and he told him he wasn't interested. So he tries to put the menu over his face, so he can't recognize him. And literally, I said to myself, and this man wants to be president, and you can't even. So anyway, he goes, puts the menu over his face. Smitty is like, "Hey, Evan." And so, of course, Evan comes on over to the table and he's like, "Hey, Smitty, I've been meaning to run into you." He's like, I'm still looking for an investigative reporter. And he's like, even though Martin already told me you wouldn't be interested. And when I tell you, Smitty was just sitting across that table and he was like, "Oh, for real? Oh, for real?" That's what he said. Just giving Martin the eye, and Smitty, and poor little Evan's like, "Oh, shit. Did I say something I wasn't supposed to say?" Y'all, that was episode 21 of Beyond the Gates. Okay. Yes, I was here for it. But yeah, y'all, if y'all haven't already, please make sure you go ahead and hit that like button for me. Make sure that you comment and give me all your theories because I love them. Y'all know I respond to all the comments. Make sure that you guys subscribe and make sure that you hit the notification bell so you know when I'm dropping all these recaps. And yeah, make sure that you follow us on the TikTok, Blue Sky, IG, and the Facebook. And I will catch y'all tomorrow for Thursday's episode of Beyond the Gates. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.